On a quiet Australian beach in 1948, a well-dressed man was found dead. No identification, no witnesses, and hidden in his pocket, a tiny scrap of paper with two strange words, Tamam, Shud. More than 70 years later, the Somerton Man remains one of the most mysterious deaths in history. It was early morning on December 1st, 1948. The sun was rising over Somerton Beach. A man walking along the shore noticed someone sitting against the seawall. The figure appeared to be resting, but something felt wrong. The man was perfectly still. Police were called. When they arrived, they discovered the man was already dead. He was neatly dressed, a suit, tie, polished shoes. There were no signs of violence, no signs of struggle, but investigators would soon realize something far stranger was happening. Police searched the man's pockets. They expected a wallet, identification, a train ticket, something that could reveal who he was. Instead, they found almost nothing. No wallet, no ID, even stranger. Every label had been carefully removed from his clothing, from his suit, from his shirt, even from his underwear. Someone had deliberately cut them out. It was as if the man had been erased. Doctors performed an autopsy. The man appeared healthy, around 40 years old, strong and well-nourished. There were no visible injuries, but internally, doctors noticed something unusual. Several organs showed signs consistent with possible poisoning, yet no poison could be identified. Without evidence, the cause of death remained unknown. Soon another clue emerged. At Adelaide railway station, police discovered a brown suitcase left in a cloakroom locker. It had been checked in the day before the man's death. Inside were clothes and personal items, but once again, every label had been removed. Exactly like the clothes on the dead man. One name appeared on a few items, T. Keane, but investigators quickly located the real Thomas Keane. He was alive and had no connection to the case. The suitcase revealed nothing about the man's true identity, but the mystery was growing deeper. Then came the clue that would make the case famous. Months later, investigators discovered a tiny hidden pocket sewn into the man's trousers. Inside was a tightly rolled scrap of paper. Printed on it were two words, Tamam, Shud. The phrase means ended or finished in Persian. The paper had been torn from the final page of the poetry book, the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, but the book itself was missing, until a local man came forward with an extraordinary discovery. The man told police he had found a copy of the same poetry book in the back seat of his car. It had been left there the night before the body was discovered. When investigators examined the book, they found the final page had been torn out, exactly where the Tamam Shud paper would have come from. Inside the back cover, there was something even stranger, a series of letters, written in a strange pattern. It looked like a coded message. To this day, no one has ever successfully decoded it. Investigators traced the book to a local nurse. Her identity was later protected, and she became known publicly only as Jestin. She lived just a short distance from Somerton Beach. When police interviewed her, she appeared visibly shocked when shown a plaster cast of the dead man's face. Some detectives believed she recognized him, but she denied knowing the man, and she refused to say anything further. Over time, researchers began noticing something unusual. Jestine had a young son. His name was Robin Thompson. Some investigators believed Robin shared rare physical traits with the Somerton Man. Both had an unusual dental pattern and distinctive ear shapes, traits that are often inherited. This led to a controversial theory. Could the Somerton Man have been Robin's biological father? Without DNA testing, the theory could never be proven. but the mystery continued to grow. Decades later, a new investigator became fascinated by the case. Professor Derek Abbott spent years studying the Somerton Man mystery. He began working with Robin's daughter, Rachel Egan. Together they pushed for something extraordinary, the exhumation of the Somerton Man's body. For more than 70 years, the unidentified man had been buried in an Adelaide cemetery, but modern DNA technology offered a chance to finally reveal his identity. In 2021, authorities approved the request. The Somerton Man's body was carefully exhumed. Scientists collected hair samples and preserved tissue. Using modern genetic genealogy techniques, they compared the DNA to international databases. The goal was simple: find a family match and discover who the mysterious man really was. In 2022, researchers announced a breakthrough. DNA analysis strongly suggested the Somerton Man was Carl Webb, an electrical engineer from Melbourne. After more than 70 years, the unknown man finally had a name, but the identification created new questions. Why had Carl Webb travelled to Adelaide? Why were all the labels removed from his clothes? And what did the mysterious Tamam Shud message really mean? The timing of the case added another layer of mystery. The year was 1948, the beginning of the Cold War. Adelaide was home to sensitive military and scientific facilities. Because of this, some investigators speculated that Carl Webb may have been connected to espionage, possibly even foreign intelligence, while there has never been evidence linking him to the KGB or any spy network. The strange clues in the case continue to fuel speculation. The coded message, the hidden pocket, the erased identity, all remain unexplained. More than 70 years after his death, we may finally know the Somerton Man's name. But the deeper mystery still remains. How did he die? Why was he carrying a secret message? And what secrets went with him to the grave? Until those questions are answered, the Somerton Man will remain one of the greatest mysteries in Australian history.